Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
Oops. I've been using the webcam here to act as a mirror so I don't have to get up from my computer desk so I can continue to check email. How geeky is that? Well, speaking of geeky, thanks everybody for crashing my website with the amount of traffic you sent there. Yeah, if you noticed some problems over at chris.pirillo.com, got hit with quite a flood. Well, I guess a longtime Windows user like myself saying that he wasn't really impressed with Windows Vista is going to cause some ripples in the space-time continuum. Okay, maybe not. Well, anyway, all the media files that I've been doing are now at chris.pirillo.com/media, and we will continue to add those as time goes on. Before I actually head to bed here tonight, it's getting earlier and earlier. It's now 12:45. Thought I'd answer a few questions, just to stay in the habit of helping and continuing to push that forward. And then the next video I'm going to upload, separate from this one, it's going to be a little more funny, especially if you're the type of person who goes to a lot of conferences. I have to, of course, say thank you to everybody who used that GoDaddy coupon code Chris1. There's also Chris2 and Chris3. In fact, I made for some other videos I've done, or I'm going to do, I made this little clip as an intro teaser to it, just to give it a little extra flair.
Save 10% on your next domain registration at GoDaddy.com by using the coupon code Chris1. That's Chris and the number 1.
That was one of my puppies, Pixie, and she's a sweetheart and a licker too. Unfortunately, she ate the coupon, so hopefully you've used it or had a chance to use it, and if not, well, you better do it quick before it fully digests and goes through her system. Alright, well, before we go into the questions, let's see if anybody wants to say hello.
Hello, Chris. My name is Zainal. I'm from Malaysia. I have no questions this time, just to say thank you for the newsletter and the links. If I should have any questions, I shall write to you or video you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Keep up the good work.
Well, hello to you, all the way in Malaysia. Well, if anybody else has any video greetings, please send them along, even if you don't have a question. Just say hi. In fact, one video comment the other day was a guy who's saying, "Hey, Chris, I like your hat." I'm not wearing it now. Probably should. It's not bedhead, but it's dayhead, and believe me, this thing, it's unmanageable. So are these. And so's this, too. Alright, well, I'm halfway through shaving, but haven't even really started with the questions. Who's up first?
Chris, I am considering buying a new computer with Vista, and I've been told maybe I should wait until Vista Service Pack 1 is out. What is your recommendation?
Well, I believe that question was submitted before I had uploaded my hour-long diatribe, but that being said, check first. Go to each manufacturer's website, whether it be for your software or your hardware, to see if there is Vista compatibility or incompatibilities. At 2 times in this past week, I've installed hardware on other systems that were running Windows Vista. One was it's called a Neat Receipts. Neat Receipts. It's this little scanner, desktop scanner, sits on your desktop, and you feed it receipts, and it scans it and helps you organize it and everything. It's kind of cool. I installed it on my laptop, one of my laptops that's running Vista, and it did give me fits until I actually turned the setup program into compatibility mode. This is something that has helped with some of the issues that I've run into inside of Windows Vista. If you right-click on an executable file, a program, an exe, and then you flip to the compatibility tab, it should be one of the little tabs in the properties sheet. That's what they would call it. Click on Run this program in compatibility mode, and then select Windows XP Service Pack 2. 9 times out of 10, that could take care of the problem for you, and that's what I ended up doing in the installer for that particular program for Neat Receipts. So check your forums, your favorite forums that you go to. Hopefully there's some geeky ones out there. I know LockerGnome.com or help.lockergnome.com is doing pretty well. Of course, I'm still adjusting a few things in there, but there are plenty of helpful people in there, including Jeeber and Deb and, let's see here, who else? Oh gosh, they're going to strangle me because I can't name them all by name. There are a few people in there who I think hate me, and hey, they're entitled to their opinion. Sometimes I hate myself. Well, Windows Vista, sometimes I hate it too, but that being said, I really am going to be looking for ways personally to try to get back from Windows XP to Windows Vista before Service Pack 1 is released. If you don't have the extra money to spend and Windows XP is working just fine for you, stick with it. Now, if you get a new computer, chances are the hardware and software that it comes with have already been tested with Vista, and you should be just fine. Of course, that being said, there was, I guess, news reports that some of Dell's top-of-the-line computers did not run Windows Vista yet. I'm not surprised at all. Now, that being said, I'm going to see if I can get a hold of anybody I know at Dell to see if they can give me or give us the straight skinny, especially by video. Because, see, then they could send their news reports in to here, we can include them, and it's going to be kind of like this technology news help program, unprogram thing. Alright, so 50-50, stick with it. If it's working, if it's not working, and you've got some extra cash to spend, or you can get a copy legally. Actually, if you can get a copy to install, I believe you can use Windows Vista without activation or registration for 120 days. Maybe worth trying. Microsoft's at least giving you that kind of option. It's not a bad idea if you can get a hold of it. Alright, next question here, and this has something to do with Office.
Hey, I have a question. How is Office 2007 registration going to be impacted? Can you install it on Windows Vista and Windows XP if you're running both? And if you try to install it a second time, is it going to ask you to re-register it and make you a telephone call? Just curious if you knew.
Good question to the two of you there, even though one of you spoke. The answer to that question is, well, let's refer to a knowledge base article on Microsoft.com. They say that during activation, the Office Activation Wizard creates a non-unique hardware identification that represents the configuration of your computer at the time of activation. The hardware activation does not include any personal information, any information about the software or data that may reside on your computer, or any information about the specific make or model of your computer. The hardware identification identifies only the computer, only for the purpose of activation. Well, it doesn't say anything about software, it just says something about hardware. And in theory, if the machine was running XP and you activated Office 2007 on XP, and then installed Vista on the same machine without changing any bit of hardware, it should activate just fine. It's the same hardware configuration. I'm not going to pretend to be an activation guru by any stretch of the imagination. I've never actually stepped through this process before, but since Microsoft says it's tied into hardware, well, it's the same hardware, so if you're installing on a different operating system, it should activate just fine. I think in all my years of installing and reinstalling Office on various systems, I've only run into a problem maybe once. And it really wasn't a problem. I just called up, told them what was going on, and it was taken care of. And in fact, one time I had to activate the product by phone because the person didn't have access to the internet. Long story, and I guess it was a few years ago, Windows 98. Whew, boy, has activation been around that long? Well, I guess so. Alright, next magical question here, and this one has to do with laptops.
Good morning, Chris. I don't know if you're going to receive me or not, but don't mind my looks here. It's Sunday morning. But my question is, I'm using a microphone. I hope you can get my recording. I don't think I can record through the webcam. But I just want to know about notebooks. When is it safe to close a notebook? Do you have to completely have no light, no raster on the screen, or can you close it once you shut it down, you know, the normal way that Windows shuts down? I'd appreciate an answer one way or another, either through the webcam here or live on your Lock and Gnome website. Thank you very much, and I hope I didn't take up too much time, and I expressed my question clearly enough. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You know, just the other day, a friend of mine, Robert Scoble, and I'm not just name-dropping, he really is a friend. He was the best man at my wedding. I've known him, well, for years, since like the late 90s, long before blogging was blogging and long before he was at Microsoft. And he was making mention of the same thing, like he doesn't like it that he never knows if his laptop is actually going to sleep when he shuts down the computer. And that's an issue that's largely tied to the hardware manufacturer and somewhat tied to the power management that is associated with that hardware. So it's software and hardware. When is it completely safe? You know, I usually wait to see, depending on the laptop, like I've got one of my sponsors' laptops. This is AMD. They're one of my sponsors. So I'm just being clear about that. When I shut this one down, it tells me when it's in suspension mode. There's a light on the front that basically says, "Hey, okay, I'm suspended," and actually does a fair job. And by the way, it's one of the ones that's running Windows Vista. My ThinkPad works much the same way. I think certain machines are, I guess, more prone to having suspension problems. Again, largely tied into the power management in software and hardware. Discommunication, miscommunication, uncommunication, they're not talking to each other 110%. Now, that being said, that's why a lot of people say they love their Mac laptops, because they go to sleep and wake up very quickly. In fact, Brandon Paddock, one of my friends, who's probably created one of the only power toys I've seen for Windows Vista. He works at Microsoft in the desktop search team, and even though I don't like Windows desktop search all that much, I love Brandon. He's a great guy. He was saying that even he bought a used MacBook Pro just to run Windows Vista, and he loves it. He says it's the best laptop he's ever had, and he's only booted into OS X on that MacBook once. Kind of cool, but he says he loves it because power management just works. So maybe Apple really got that one right, and the PC world is still struggling to kind of catch up. Don't know what they're doing differently necessarily. I've only dealt with power management from a power user's perspective and never dove completely into it. I've had some issues where software that I'm running will actually hang and not allow the computer to really shut down. By and large, if I really want to make sure that it's shut down and completely safe to move around at that point, I'll literally just hold on to the power button until the whole thing shuts down. That way I know for sure no software's hanging it. I'm not going to end up with my backpack catching on fire, all that stuff. So software, hardware, and I usually turn it off. That's the way I roll, or shut my laptop lid, as the case would be. Next question has to do with something that I'm a little familiar with, wireless broadband.
Hi, Dave Rensel here. I'm just wondering about wireless broadband. I need to have somebody give me their thoughts on them and whether it's really worth the $40 a month that they want. So if you got some good thoughts, let me know. Thanks a lot.
Just a few weeks ago, I myself signed up for a Clearwire account. It's available in my area. In fact, let's see here if you're going to be able to see that. Right up there, let's see if I can put it right there. That's the Clearwire modem. Right, that's a speaker. That's something that's hanging down to keep the bookcase steady. And then over there, little nips hanging up there. That's the top of one of my Linksys routers that's connected to the Clearwire modem that has 5 bars. And as far as I'm concerned, it works. It works fine. I'm not having any major issues. The issues that I am having with it, I think, are largely due to it uses dynamic IP addresses, and it seems like every other day they change the IP address, and that's a little bit frustrating. Whereas Comcast, my cable provider, which I'm not thrilled about, I loved Time Warner, and not just because they put me in a commercial. Ooh, I should splice that in just a second. Anyway, Comcast also has a dynamic IP address, but it seldom changes. So Clearwire has been fine. It's been good. Is it worth for me paying $20 to $40 a month for the personal account? Yes and no. BitTorrent hasn't been fantastic on Clearwire, but I tell you what I do like is that it's there. Even if I'm not using it, I know it's there. So I'm using it right now for some BitTorrent stuff, so I don't have to saturate my other network with sharing legal torrents or downloading legal torrents. Like I just downloaded Mandriva. It was 2007. Their one ISO was available by BitTorrent. I think it's the only way you can get it is BitTorrent, which is fine by me. I'm also using it to, I guess, serve as a, well, that access point is a separate access point that I've got my B-only devices on. See, I've got a regular G router set up for most of my, I guess, systems and laptops and whatnot, but there are certain devices like the PSP that only go up to 802.11b, and then only then a limited amount of security. like they don't even support WPA. I have to go with a WEP. It's a lower level of security. It's still security, but it's just a lower level and more prone to getting broken into. So I've got two separate wireless networks in the house running on different channels. One of them is using the Clearwire account. Another one's using my Comcast account. I'm using Clearwire wireless because I can get it just about anywhere. I could, in theory, take that modem with me and walk around town. I haven't gone that far, but I could if I wanted to, or to go into any city that has the Clearwire access. And then I'm also using it, like I said, for other devices that I don't want to lower the rest of my network security for, but I want to run wirelessly, like the PSP. I'm using it for that, just in case my first explanation wasn't clear. But then it's also acting as insurance for me. So if Comcast does go down at some point, I know I got access. I don't have to worry or really be waiting and on hold like, what's going on? When am I going to get access again? I've got a wireless account, so I'm good to go. So for those three reasons, I think are really solid reasons. Now, if wireless broadband is your only option, I say it's better than dial-up, that's for sure. Is it awesome? Yeah. In terms of the way I rank things, DSL, I've had so-so luck with. I've always been either a Time Warner Roadrunner subscriber, and I was thrilled to be their subscriber. Comcast, which has been okay, and then I'm using Clearwire. The one I can't wait for is the Verizon fiber service, and I don't know if they're going to serve my area anytime soon, but as soon as they do, man, I'm going to be uploading HD videos all day long! Okay, maybe not. I've got to finish shaving at first. Alright, well, here is the only video I've received that I know of from a female recently, and I'm hoping that more females are out there and can ask questions. I mean, I don't want to make this look like this is just a boys' party. I mean, hey, I'll take male or female, doesn't matter. If you got a question, I'll do my best to answer it, or the community will. But here we go. It seems like a simple enough question, and maybe I'll have the right answer.
Hey, Chris. I use Firefox to view the web, and I use the space bar to page down. The space bar has stopped working. Why is that?
Well, it could be a few things. One, there could be script on certain pages that are not allowing you to use a space bar, and yes, there is JavaScript out there that will do that. It'll effectively render the space bar unusable on any given page that the JavaScript is calling or being called from. See here, could be a plugin that you recently installed, an add-in that can happen, or extension, I guess is another word for in Firefox. And if that's not the case, well, if your spacebar works throughout the rest of Windows, it could be the Firefox in general is just kind of quirking out on you. There may have actually been, let me try something here. I'm going to launch Firefox. I'm launching it here on my primary monitor. I really want to get it. I want to get, honestly, I'm gunning for like one of those 30-screen monitors. I would love to have two 30-screen monitors. Oh gosh, I would. You think it was bad? Oh, I picked up this, and I meant to pick up this. You try shaving with your mouse. Anyway, okay, Firefox. We're going to type in the address bar about:config, and that pulls up a list of config options. And I just did a filter for spacebar, and I'm not seeing any options that might have been toggled in there. Yeah, like I said, it could have very well been an add-on or an extension, a plugin that could have rendered it that way. If it's just on specific pages, it could be just JavaScript. And then, of course, I'd hope that your spacebar works throughout the rest of Windows, and if not, well, get a new keyboard. And if you need a good video tutorial, I know where to find one on how to clean out your keyboard. Something may be stuck in there. Alright, well anyway, I've got to finish shaving and upload a few more media files. Please ask questions. Submit your video feedback. It's really simple to do. I'd recommend not using the YouTube tool right now. It's seemed to have caused some audio problems, so if you can, just upload your video some other way. I've got the video recorder at chris.pirillo.com/video, and then of course chris.pirillo.com/media is where you're going to be able to find most of these recordings, as well as other ones that you probably had no idea I recorded for general consumption. Anyway, I think that's just about it. I've got a few more things to do before I head to bed. Tomorrow I've got a well, it's a conference. It's the Microsoft Tech Fest, and yeah, I'm going onto Microsoft's campus, and no, I don't think it's going to be a coordinated hit. It's actually for Microsoft Research, and they're going to be displaying their wares and their latest innovations, and I can't wait to record what I find there. I'm going to be taking my HD video camera with me, although I don't know if I'm going to be shooting in HD. I'll be probably just shooting in standard definition because it's easier and quicker to manage. Not only that, but here's another bit of news for you, or just information. Sony has just started to promote a new video format, and it goes by I guess AVC HD. It's probably blurry, but AVC HD, and they've developed this format with other manufacturers and people who deal with and companies who deal with the video space as well. So it's not proprietary. The problem is that Sony's very basic software is the only one that really supports it at this point, and so we're waiting. The general populace, the world, is waiting for other software video editor companies to jump aboard and to start supporting that format to make it easier to do high-definition video editing with the AVC HD format. Anyway, so I hope to have videos to post from that, maybe some audio interviews. Actually, I think it's going to be more of a video type of showcase, and so I really can't wait to share that with everybody. Anyway, thanks for subscribing. Please pass this on to friends. We got through, I think, 5 solid questions this time, which seems to be pretty good, and I kept it hopefully well under an hour when everything is said and done. I've got to thank my sponsors. I got to thank my subscribers. I got to thank everybody who's just brought me to this point. I'm having a total blast. I can't wait to see what you guys are doing out there. I can't wait to show you what I'm doing here with my home office, which is still coming together. I know I keep saying that every day. But anyway, enough babbling. Until next time, we'll see you later.
And now, a Roadrunner tribute for all the daredevils, video bloggers, and priceless moment makers. For those maverick line for our viewing pleasure, Roadrunner proudly offers you the speed you need to keep doing what you're doing. Composing, remixing, and posting your world. Making sure the internet never runs out of you. Move to a faster internet with Roadrunner High Speed Online.